to.
That could happen.
You know, a simple email to my, or you know, if you want a road in a particular place, or if you need to redesign a road, for example, 5 points. You know, it'd be very easy to draw in the people you want to make the survey result. That's the danger of it. If you have a fair, open, honest, ladies and gentlemen, here's our survey. You put them at the gas station. You call some public meetings. You have them at the library. You put it out there for a couple weeks. You go back and collect the data. I think maybe you get a fair representation. But we're going to.
We've had survey results on what to do with Navarre Beach come into the county.
Right, and ladies and gentlemen, we want you to know that this all of what we're going to talk about is on the county webpage. It'll be posted there, so you can look at it in more detail. We're going to kind of skim over the big
And this
points.
is the result of 192 return surveys.
Well, yeah, Deborah, it appears that it was 91 surveys completed at a public meeting, and then another 101 surveys done, I guess general public, and people sending emails in and all that. Now, I will have to say, I don't like how they did this. Most surveys that I've ever looked at was strongly support, neutral, somewhat against, and completely against. They
compiled them into somewhat support or strongly support versus somewhat opposed or strongly opposed.
Yeah.
And here's what it turns out that people like or supported was a marine classroom, which has been in the wind for a while, and would actually set up a classroom where kids, students could go down there.
Right, and that was a good presentation.
Yeah.
And when we took that back, we wound up getting two or three very nice buildings in the deal. And then what they're proposing is to use one of those buildings for an indoor classroom up
Right.
top, and then a wade pool kind of wet classroom downstairs. And I have to agree. I think that would be a good thing.
Well, high school students could use it, and also some of the students at PJC and
right. And then potentially. You'll have time set aside for tourists who want to come see
right.
that. So.
And of course, that has a very low impact
right.
on the beach down there.
Low impact.
That's basically just bringing stuff in and bringing the people in to run the classroom.
Right. And if you just, I think it's important. There's a lot of kids that kind of get held in a sterile environment. Maybe they don't get to go to the beach. Maybe they've never seen a lake.
Right.
I mean, they're kind of the city dwellers.
Yeah.
And that gives them an opportunity to get out there at a young age and have appreciation of what nature is capable of. I think it's a good idea. And it doesn't surprise me that made number one on the list. So what was number two?
Number two was a stargazing area. Of course, it's nice and dark down there. Not a lot of light pollution, and you can get out. And if it's a clear, that's a great place to set up telescopes and,
Right.
do
Absolutely.
some star and planet gazing.
Yeah.
And also primitive campsites. Just a campfire, bring your picnic lunch.
Right.
Don't
Small footprint.
mess the area up.
We're not
Yeah,
running
right.
water lines and sewer lines
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. Keep it small, keep it simple.
Right.
Short term stuff.
Right. And then people also liked a snack area, bird watching area, and some people thought that there should be a visitor information center.
Right, and,
in there as well.
Commissioner Gooden did, there is some talk, there is a building right at the entrance there that potentially could be used for a visitor center. The bird watching area, they're already doing that down there now. It was last summer when they actually changed the speed limit on the bridge there, going to Navarre because of all the birds and everything. So, yeah, looking at this thing, if I would have taken a survey, I think I would have hit right there on what I would have supported.
The overall impression is people don't want a bunch of development on the beach.
Well, Deborah, there for many years. Now, understand this was never anything in writing. But for many years, I say at least a strong gentleman's agreement amongst a series of commission organizations that we have. The Pensacola Beach is developed, and Navarre Beach should stay as pristine as possible
Right.
without the high rises and all those kind of things. And,
Right.
and that was one of the reasons that I was excited that the state took the park, because then you knew there won't be any high rises on it, because they're not
Right.
they won't allow it. We now own it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we do want you to know that there's at least one or two parcels of property down there that will allow a high rise.
Yeah.
But
They had a lease back in the 60s, and they still have a lease.
they've been holding it forever, and those eventually may happen. But Deborah, I agree with your point. Is everything that people supported, these top 6, is limited footprint, limited. Don't change much.
Right.
We want it as pristine as possible. We want the sea oats and the sand and the
Right.
water and the sunshine, and and look, you need a snack area down there. Honest to goodness, man, you gotta have, an opportunity for people to buy water and a handful of things. I'm not saying drop a Walmart off down there,
Right.
but you do need a little vendor down there so people can buy sunscreen or maybe emergency kit, a Band-Aids, that kind of stuff.
Well, and some of the comments specified they didn't want to see vendors on the beach either,
Right.
cluttering it up.
Well, the danger of it is if you just open it wide open, then the restaurant company comes in and puts in a 3-story monstrosity and tries to call it a restaurant when it's really a hotel.
Right.
But overall, it appeared now on the strongly opposed, and one item in particular. Actually, the highest opposition of anything that was on here was the question was asked, would you be in favor of a marina?
Yeah.
And that just kind of is one more thing. We don't want development here.
Right. Well, people don't want the the petroleum in the water and the noise and the churning it up. Then it gets all over the beach. There were some comments about the oily mess on the beach and stuff like that. Plus, it's going to draw in just a bunch of people that are going to be kind of crowding in there with machinery and kind of spoil it.
I'm often my first trip that I can remember to Destin, Florida was around 1982, and when I went there was one medium condo, and there was one like 4-store or 5-store strip,
Right.
and maybe a couple gas stations. And I always thought to myself that during that time, I just envisioned a guy at a county commission meeting, and there's a huge opposition to developing the meeting, and he says, "It's just one more condo."
Right.
Well, I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, today you will need a map. I am not exaggerating. You will need a map to get from the parking lot to the water that you own.
Yeah.
And there are many places down there that you probably get arrested for trespassing
Yeah.
if you make a wrong turn.
Right.
And
They prefer you just not go on their beach.
Yeah, I think it's always been the contention of people from Santa Rosa County, especially the native people that have lived here for many years, is that we would like Navarre Beach left alone. We're okay with a pier. We're okay with we'd like one place to eat, But for the most part, maybe a small gas station, the pier, a few amenities. We would like some showers and some picnic tables. Outside of that, call it a day. And hopefully, this survey certainly supports that thought.
The other thing people were against were high-end shopping complexes and the restaurants, all that kind of development, and RV campsites. People don't want down there.
Right. Well, typically, and I'm not picking on people with RVs, but there's more involved in that.